Transgender Roxanne Tickle, a resident of rural New South Wales, filed a lawsuit against Giggle for Girls, the company's CEO, and Grover, alleging that she was illegally prevented from using the app in 2021 after Grover and the company claimed she was a man. Onboarding to the app required the user to upload a selfie verified as female by Kairos AI gender detection software, and then by Grover. Tickle was barred after initially being allowed to join the platform, which was shut down in August 2022. According to the judge, the evidence did not indicate that Tickle was specifically barred from Giggle due to her gender identity, although it is still plausible that this was the underlying but unproven reason as a result of Tickle's exclusion from using the social media app because she did not look sufficiently female. The indirect discrimination complaint was successful. Tickle used her case to demonstrate to other transgender persons that it is okay to be brave and to speak up for oneself. Tickle said that she can now move on with her life, play hockey with her team, have coffee with her pals down the street, and put this horrific experience behind her. Long-term outcome: Roxanne Tickle wins in the federal court is a historic victory for transgender women. It is the first time that Australia's federal court has examined claims of discrimination based on gender identity, and it touches on fundamental questions about how gender identity and being a woman are understood. The global public is watching the decision, which is expected to have significant effects on both male and female spaces and activities. Death of transgender Oklahoma student. Next, Benedict ruled suicide by medical examiner. According to Benedict's mother and friends, Benedict had been bullied by classmates about their gender identity for more than a year before their death. Benedict was a sophomore in high school and was indeed bullied since the start of the 2023 academic year. On February 7th, 2023, three students began using bullying tactics to agitate Next and a friend. Next splashed water on them. This in turn caused the students to start beating Next. The battle lasted for just 2 minutes before a school staff member broke it up. Next and friend were in the female's bathroom at the time. The following day, Benedict collapsed in their living room and was later pronounced dead. Next revealed in a police interview that they were not aware of the three students' names and that the gang had been harassing them for days before the fight. The group of pupils, according to Next, were all first year students, and they had only met through an in school suspension that they were all serving. The week prior to the confrontation, Sue Benedict reported to the police that Next had complained about three adolescents. According to Next, the students were making comments, throwing things, and calling us names. Sue Benedict instructed Next to stop mentioning the children as well. I didn't really see the point in it, Next said in response to the officer's questioning of them during the interview on why they had notified the school of the three pupils' previous behavior. On March the 14th, family members of Benedict released a statement through their attorney and said they had reviewed the complete autopsy report and did not want the ruling of suicide to overshadow other findings in the report, saying, rather than allowing incomplete accounts to take hold and spread any further. The Benedicts feel compelled to provide a summary of those findings. Following the release of the summary autopsy report, a police investigation was reported to continue into the school bathroom incident and whether Benedict was subject to gender biased violence. Long term outcome: the 16-year-old Next Benedict committed suicide as a result of this occurrence. The Human Rights Campaign, immediately after Next passed away, petitioned the Department of Justice and the Department of Education to investigate Owasso High School and determine whether or not the institution had unlawfully failed to address the discrimination and harassment to which Next was subjected. Oklahoma State Representative Mauree Turner, the first publicly non-binary state lawmaker, described Benedict's death as a direct result of a failed administration in a public school that didn't value the life of a trans. United States Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona wrote in a statement on February 21st, "I can't put into words the grief that I feel for Next, their family, and their community. It is our responsibility to protect all students by creating spaces where they feel safe to be their true selves." On February 26th, at least 40 students at Owasso High School participated in a school walkout, citing concerns about bullying and in support of the two SLGBTQ communities at the school and in the city. President Joe Biden released a statement that said every young person deserves to have the fundamental right and freedom to be who they are and feel safe and supported at school and in their communities, and said that he and First Lady Jill Biden were heartbroken by the incident. The school district asserted that they are not accountable and rejected any responsibility of the incident. The depressing reality that young LGBTQ Americans must contend with is reflected in Next Benedict's passing. Calls against anti-LGBTQ bullying go nationwide following Next Benedict's death. LGBTQ adolescents are more likely to leave school, have suicide thoughts, feel anxious or depressed, and report greater incidences of bullying, discrimination, and violent threats. According to CDC research, young LGBTQ plus people are more likely to attempt suicide as a result of social stigma and mistreatment than they are because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. LGBTQ plus youth have a suicide attempt rate that is more than 4 times higher than that of their classmates. Prejudice. There are several ways that LGBTQ plus persons may encounter discrimination in behavioral health settings. Health professionals have the potential to misgender LGBTQ plus individuals, and they may also react negatively to LGBTQ plus people by rejecting their identities or disregarding their name and pronouns. LGBTQ plus individuals may experience verbal harassment, unwanted physical contact, judgment for their sexual conduct, and exclusion from medical facilities, pharmacies, and doctors. They may also be held responsible for the spread of STDs. It may be challenging for LGBTQ plus individuals to get care as a result of these events, and they may cause new or worsening symptoms. Discrimination avoidance. Here are some ways mental health professionals can avoid discrimination against the LGBTQ plus community. Work with LGBTQ clients to design programs, plan services, and create policies and procedures. These should be inclusive of LGBTQ patients, minimize re traumatization, and include sexual orientation and gender identity. Forms should allow LGBTQ individuals to answer honestly and thoroughly. Train staff to be comfortable discussing sexual orientation, gender orientation, and sexual practices. They should also be able to refer to patients by their name and chosen pronouns and avoid judgment. Post brochures and educational material about LGBTQ health concerns and display posters from LGBTQ or HIV/AIDS organizations. You can also visibly post a non discrimination statement. Offer to listen and help and be compassionate of the struggles of others by pursuing initiatives that advance in inclusion. diversity, and equality. We can lessen the likelihood that discrimination will occur. For instance, by offering person centered care, you can respect diversity instead of treating every person the same. Treat the people you assist as special. As they seek care, pay attention to their emotional, physical, and social requirements in order to comprehend the challenges they are facing. Establish trust in general to make sure they keep going to treatment and eventually get better results. Payers, providers, and patients all gain from better behavioral health integration practices. Thank you once again. Here are the references.